Did the September 17th Federal Reserve rate cut bring the Bitcoin price down in the short term, but is it going to spike it in the long term? Well, that's what an article that came out right before said on CoinDesk. CoinDesk, if you want to just get sort of Bitcoin crypto news, it's not a bad platform for that. This is on September 14th. So they were sort of predicting what is happening right now. Bitcoin right now is a little down again. It's down to 112,000, which is amazing. A year ago, it was about 50 some thousand a coin. Now it's 112,000. So they were predicting that the Federal Reserve September 17th rate cut could spark a short-term jitters, but supercharge Bitcoin, gold, and stocks in the long term. So the Fed, they were expecting it, and this is what happened. They did cut it by 25 points on September 17th. The interest rates came down 25 points. Markets have priced in the move, rising the risk of short-term disappointment and volatility. Risk assets such as Bitcoin, gold, and equities remain positioned for long-term gains if easier policy persists. Investors are counting down the Federal Reserve September 17th monetary policy decision. Markets expect a quarter-point rate cut. Of course, this already happened. According to the latest CPI report released by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics on Thursday, consumer prices have rose 0.4% in August, lifting the normal CPI rate to 2.9 from 2.7 in July, as shelter, food, and gasoline pushed costs higher. Cost of living is higher. We keep talking about this. Biden didn't fix it. Trump ain't fixing it. They're just giving money to their billionaire donors. That's why I vote third party. The two-party system is completely co-opted. So let's get down here. Bond markets have adjusted accordingly for the data. We talked about no one's buying American bonds. Let's go down to this here. So at the time of this, which was 2 weeks ago, or not even, about 10 days ago, Bitcoin was trading at 115,000, below its August 14th all-time high of 124,000, but still firmly higher in 2025, with the global crypto market cap now at $4.1 trillion. Over half of that is Bitcoin. The other $2 trillion is in the altcoins. Gold has surged to $3,600 an ounce, with its 1 month chart showing a steady upward trajectory. One of the things that this means is that people know, I think this means several other things. It also means that the people know the dollar is going to crash, and they're putting their money in gold and Bitcoin. Like, I would urge you to follow Ray Dalio, because he's a financial guy, and these guys, they say, oh, socialism. They're afraid of socialism still because they're old baby boomers that think Stalin's coming. But they do understand markets, and they do understand how the U.S. dollar is collapsing. And he has written a book. He went through the last 500 years, how empires all go through the same cycle. They all have gone through the same, the Dutch, the English, the China, all these big empires. And the Ming Dynasty and all going back 500 years. So they all do the same cycle, and America's in the same cycle. So that's one thing to pay attention to. This is that, and investors see this, and they're like, oh, the dollar might be crashing soon. America might be crashing soon. If no one's buying our bonds, that means people don't invest. Global investors don't have faith in the United States anymore. And and if the dollar crashes, the Bitcoin price, I said, will go down initially, but then it'll come right back up, which is what happened. We saw a little mini example of that in April when Trump passed all the tariff things. All the markets crashed, or not crashed, but went way down. Bitcoin was trading at about 110,000, and it went down to 85,000, and it stayed there for about a month. And then what happened, I showed you this, is both Bitcoin and gold started going up, which means people were pulling their cash out of stocks, out of other investments, and putting them into gold and Bitcoin. And that'll happen again. Because if their money's, if bonds are crashing, if the stock market is crashing, if real estate is crashing, because that's the other thing too, why a lot of, ultra wealthy people buy huge homes or high rises or whatever. It's to store their wealth in real estate, which traditionally goes up and up. But if it all starts coming down, they're going to put it in the two places that aren't going to crash, which will be gold and Bitcoin. And that's what this article is kind of talking about. It's just talking specifically about the rate hike, but these two charts about what gold and Bitcoin are doing are significant. The analysis from Kobayashi letter reported on an X thread posted Saturday, citing Carson research shows that 20 of 20 prior cases since 1980 where the Fed cut rates with 2% of the S&P 500 times, the index was higher 1 year later, averaging gains nearly 14%. The shorter term is less predictable. In 11 of those 22 instance, stocks fell the month following the cut. Kobe agrees the time could follow a similar pattern. Initial turbulence followed by longer term gains as rate relief amplifies the momentum behind assets like equities, Bitcoin, and gold. So what they're saying there, and since 1980, every time the Fed cuts the rate, there's a short-term volatility, which what we're seeing right now. Bitcoin is down to 112, but in the long run, it'll go up, and it'll go up for the reasons I just stated, which will people, first of all, low interest rates means that there will be, people will borrow more money, which means they'll put more cash into the system. Right? When people can borrow money at a lower interest rate, that means there's more people buying homes. There's more people getting business loans, personal loans, because the interest rate is lower. Right? But there's all these other bubbles that they're not, which puts more cash in the system. But there's a car loan bubble. I've talked about that before. There was an article that came out about 2 weeks ago that something like 60% of car loans are behind. That's a staggering amount. So if we could see a huge economic collapse, the dollar collapses, the bond market collapses, car loans, real estate, all this stuff crashes, and people will be and then real investors with real money will be putting their money in gold and Bitcoin. And regular people, if they don't have gold or Bitcoin, are going to be in trouble. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a paid financial advisor, but this is why I've been saying, prepare for this big crash. Have a little Bitcoin, man. Prepare for it. So thanks for watching. Support what we do. You can support it with Bitcoin there. You can support it with fiat down below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our new channel, Bitcoin Hollywood on YouTube, and go to bitcoin-hollywood.com and sign up for our website and everything. We're going to be announcing a lot of cool stuff is happening. I'm working on some very cool projects here. So, and we're posting more content. We're back to doing 3 live streams a week. We'll be doing government secrets Wednesday, tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. That is Wednesday, the 24th. So check that out. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. Stay safe, be nice to your neighbors, and shave your knuckles for justice. Boom.